Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing today, man? Listen, I am proud to introduce this man for the second time. He has graced me, and I appreciate him taking out some time of his busy schedule. We're talking about the co-host of In the Fish podcast and the Miami great OJ McDuffie. Will be in the blender. I'll be drinking my mimosa. Got some OJ, of course. I got my Cohiba. Good shit right here. And yeah, man, we finna get lit, and we're gonna tell some stories. So yeah, let's get into the intro, and we'll be right back.
Shake, 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 yeah, shake, 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 shake. Shake money in the place. Miami plays, Miami days, and the blender was shaking his friends. We're gonna talk about the fans again. Miami plays, Miami days, and the blender was shaking his friends. We're gonna talk about the fans again. Is you a fan or a troll? Are you trying to wish us good? Trying to take control, bringing problems to the hood. What takes your soul? Miami Dolphins bring the wood. Super Bowl is the goal. Tyreek Hill. I'm trying to kick it with Shake. You gotta be a real fan. No pretenders and fakes. We're gonna open up the line. Come correct with your taste. If you step into us blind, we're gonna show you the way. Miami plays, Miami days, and the blender was shaking his friends. We're gonna talk about the fans again. Miami plays, Miami days, and the blender was shaking his friends. We're gonna talk about the fans again. Never want the season to end. Let's mix it up a little with gin. And I remember when I knew that the Dolphins would win. Yeah, rockin' with Shake, rockin' with Shake. Let's go. I never want the season to end. Never mix it up a little with gin. That's right. Pass it off to one of my friends. Yeah, rockin' with Shake, rockin' with Shake. Larry K, what up? Phin-Addicts. TFTG, the tailgate. Miami Dolphins, baby. What up, Lou? Shake money. Crypto. Check. Me? God bless y'all. Miami Dolphins #1. And we out. Miami Dolphins football, the greatest football team. We push the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. Respect us.
Morning, Your Majesty. It is another beautiful day in Zamunda.
Yes, it is. It is another beautiful day in Zamunda. And yeah, man. Let me see. We got Andrew Harris. What's up? Michael K. What's up? How you doing? Raphael Courtright, Chef Jew, my man Cosa Nostra, Fred Dunlap. How are you guys doing? Appreciate y'all for coming here, man. And once again, let us welcome for the second time my guest, Mr. OJ McDuffie. How you doing, my brother? Thank you for coming in.
Good, Shake. What's good, man? I was loving the intro, man.
Yeah,
doing
man. That was my
right
man
there,
Ty
man.
Bless. Ty
Yeah.
Bless. He's a big diehard Dolphin fan from New York.
Well done, bro. Well
I had
done.
him in
That's
the
how you
blender
do
too.
it. That's how you get it going right there, man. Hell, it's gonna be a hell of a party tonight. I'm ready.
Yeah. So, let's start off with the fish tank, right?
Yes, sir.
You guys have done 210 episodes already. It's crazy your first episode was September 5th, 2018.
Right.
And to now.
Yeah, we've been doing it a long time, man. Of course, everybody took a break during COVID, man, but we've been doing it for a while, bro. And my man Seth Levitt, who's the architect and the brains behind the whole thing, came with this idea, and we've been having a blast ever since, man. And to be over 200 episodes has been something that we wanted to imagine, but never did imagine, man. So yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate the love on that for sure.
Phil Montgomery, what's up? So let me ask you this: being that you're in the seat that you're in, Do you have a better understanding for media now than when you, or has it stayed the same?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, man. It's a whole different world, right? On this side of the microphone, it's definitely a different world, man. And I definitely had an appreciation. Now, the understanding part, I still think some guys are still like, trying to get at guys. I try to handle my side on this side of the microphone like if I were a player and what a player would want to hear and how it would come at a player, man. But some guys are still looking for clicks. I'm not looking for clicks when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've always understand the player side. I try to understand the media side, but I try to meet somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean, Shake?
So, and this episode is basically because look, I know you get a lot of people when you're on. Get a lot of people with the Miami Dolphins. They get you. You do a lot of shows. I've seen you on Miss Finn's, Big C recently. You show love to all the platforms, and they ask you to state of the franchise. I would recommend Big C. Watch Big C Finn Posse. If you want a good show about the state of the franchise, and that's what you like to want to do, then what I'm saying, I would recommend. It's a must watch, great show. But I'm trying to do something a little different, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So first things first, I have some pictures I want to show you. Can you explain this picture right here?
Oh, here we go. Absolutely, I can. Before I got to the Dolphins, everybody had to watch in living color. Everybody watched in living color. The Wayans, or the whole Wayan family. Jamie Foxx and David Allen Greer, and Tommy Davidson, and of course Jim Carrey doing Fire Marshal Bill and all of his skits that he did right there. And hell, my rookie year, he comes down, and him and Dan Marino are shooting Pet Detective. And hell, if I couldn't get a shot with Jim Carrey at that point, I was already starstruck. If you look at that, it's my first or second day in training camp.
Yeah.
I'm already starstruck because I got Marino, I've got Shula, I've got Irvin Fryer, Mark Ingram, all these guys that I played Madden with in college. And the next thing you know, Jim Carrey shows up in our locker room to, just pretty much do his whole skit and whole sketch. So I had to have a flick with him, man, because all through college, man, all we did was watch, in living color. And of course, Fire Marshal Bill, he did all that stuff, man. I just lost my mind. So I had to have a shot. And how about that, Shake? I had hair at that point too, man. It's a beautiful day.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that hold on, let me see. Let me take one more look at it.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, look at you. I like that. I like that little. You had a nice little fade, hot top going there.
I did. It was getting. I didn't realize till just now how deep it was going in my forehead. I should have probably let it go a little sooner than I did, bro. But it's all good.
And one last picture. I want to show you. Last week, I remember my friend Vinny told me that he's part of Wiffle Blast.
Oh.
And he wanted me to show you this.
Vinny. Yeah. Well, you know what? I get it. We wanted them to have a championship trophy because hell, we won 2 out of the last 4 years. So yeah, we don't want Todd and those guys bitching and moaning the fact that we keep winning it every year. So yeah, they won this year, but I'm telling you what, we'll be back next year for going for 3 out of 5 years coming soon, bro. I promise you that.
All right, that's what's up.
My team is dope. My team is dope. I can't wait. Now, send that picture to me, man, because I'm going to send it to my team. My team's going to be practicing for 360-some days now to get ready for that.
You got some build more material?
Damn right. Damn right we do.
Man, but Vinny's a cool dude. He's always part of Wiffle Blast, was also another thing that Seth cooked up, part of the Jason Taylor Foundation.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, it's a great event. It's a fun event. I don't play anymore. I just manage my team, and my team is solid. And we'll be back next year. We had one bad pitch, so we'd have been the championship game this past year, man. But I promise you, it ain't gonna happen again. Our team is dope like that.
Okay. We got a draft around the corner, so right. And you were taken in the 1993. By the way, I was in high school.
Stop it, bro. Stop it.
Hey, I'm aging myself, so you know what I'm saying? So one thing I took some notes about your draft class, right? You had Drew Bledsoe in that. Marvin Jones, by the way, a Northwestern Miami native from FSU. You had Jerome Bettis in that draft. Those are a few names of note that I noticed when I was looking at your. But I also noticed that you were the third wide receiver taken. Can you name
Correct.
the two receivers that were ahead of you?
Absolutely. Curtis Conway and Sean Dawkins.
So let me ask you this. Everybody always when they talk about Marino's draft, they always bring up the other quarterbacks. Or when they talk about the Tua draft, they always did you feel like you were in a competition with those wide receivers, or like not like personal, but like what, I was drafted last behind those guys. I want to show them that, from a competitive standpoint, were you
always,
in a similar
man,
competition?
Always, you always want teams to think they made a mistake, man. You know what I mean? And especially when you play against those teams. I think Curtis went to the Bears. We didn't play them very often, but Sean went to the Indianapolis Cold Tour in our division at that point. And so, yeah, you always want to make sure that whenever you go out there and play against those guys, you want to show and prove. Now, see, both of them are different type of receivers than I was. Sean Dawkins is a big guy. He was, I want to say he was 6'3"-ish, 205, 210, just a big guy. Curtis Conway, hell, he ran 4 whatever, like 1.9 or 4.2. So that was a different kind of guy than me. And so depending on what guys were looking for, man. But at the same time, though, anytime you play against guys, just like Marino, when there's 6 quarterbacks or 5 quarterbacks drafted before you in the first round, you want to go out there and show and prove. So it's always incentive. It's always motivation. And yeah, man, it was always fun to be able to go up against those guys, man. So yeah, that was a hell of a class. We had a hell of a class. I think we got a couple Hall of Famers in that class too, right? Like, I think Bettis is a Hall of Famer.
There.
And then Willie Rofe is a Hall of Famer, I believe. He was drafted. So yeah, we had a good class. We had a real good class, man. I was proud to be a part of that one right there. That's for sure.
So let me and then I want to bring this up. This was your this was the draft in its totality, 8 rounds. Now it's down to 7, obviously. Were there any UDFAs in your rookie camp, whatever training camp?
That I do not know.
I'm
sure there were. I don't know if they made a name for themselves or not, but I'm sure there were a few. But Terry Kirby's my guy, man. Me and TK are still tight as hell right now, man. So you see that as the first round and third round. We lost our second round pick for Irvin Fryer. So so that right there tells you our first 3 picks in that draft, because Irvin Fryer has to count, right? We're pretty solid for us for quite a long time, man. So yeah, that was a fun draft. And look at those cats. Damn, it's hard. I didn't realize my class at that point, man. Yeah, it was good time right there, bro. Absolutely.
So let me ask you this: did Don Shula hold you to a different standard because you were number 1, or he's like, you know what, you're all drafted, you're all professionals, everybody is to that same standard, or did he hold you a little bit above?
No, everybody's to the same standard, man. Hey, he doesn't care once you get on the squad, everybody's undrafted. For real. The only people that change you, that treat you to a different standard, are the other veterans. They give the first couple picks a harder time than the rest of the crew, especially when it came to finances and money and eating, going to eat and donuts and kiwi strawberry Snapple and dinners. Man, hell, the top picks, we had to shell out money we didn't have, man. Thank goodness I had a good credit card back then, because I didn't have any money back at the beginning. And then that first check came, thank goodness. Yeah, I had a couple bucks in my pocket, that's for sure.
So let me ask you this question then. Now, I'm glad you brought that up, because back then there wasn't a rookie pay scale. How hard was it to negotiate your contract? And if you were a rookie back then, would you want the same pay scale that they're offering now? Or
oh well, yeah, there was still a salary cap, so we had to abide by that. Hell, anybody wants more and more money, man. My whole goal was to make sure that that we thought we got fair market value, and we started letting other guys, see where they fit in, where the money was at, where they were getting paid, so we can hopefully get fair market value. Just from God, you can't gauge fair market value until you actually get in there and play. But everything was slotted at that point, so we knew what I knew what Sean got. I knew what what Curtis got, and so on and so forth. So at some point they have to ante up for the third wide receiver taken that day, and so I think nowadays though, hell, we make pennies compared to what they make now. Shake,
Yeah,
it's nothing, man. I mean, these dudes right now they make what I made my whole career. They make that by 3 games into the season. So. But then again, I look back at the guys that played in the 70s, and we make our whole season was, I mean, you can't
I want you
compare
to think
the
about
two,
this.
man.
Dan Marino was the first player to make $1 million.
Yes, he was. Yes, he
And that's the
was. $1
minimum
million a
nowadays.
year.
That's the
you
minimum.
you can't even have a conversation without multiple M's nowadays, man. So yeah. And so Marino, first quarterback, and then Thurman Thomas, who I played with, first running back to make over $1 million a year. So I had a lot of firsts when I was playing in the league. It was pretty cool.
I have this guest. His name is Cosa Nostra. He's a big supporter of the show. So he wants to know, why didn't things work out with you and Jimmy Johnson? He had high hopes.
Because he was a jerk. No, I'm just playing. Jimmy, Jimmy and I probably never got along from the beginning. I think it goes all the way back to UM Penn State days. And I think he was kind of stuck with me when he got here. He was stuck with me, stuck with Marino. And we're like the only 2 guys that Jimmy kept on the roster when he came in here to, totally revamp and throw everything out that Don Shula had. So Shula, I mean, Jimmy was all about his defense, and great. When you look at the guys that we had on defense and how that defense got better and better and better, but the offense was just so lackluster, so boring. Kibby Brown was like a fall guy for the offense at one point. We were trying to run Dallas Cowboy offense with Miami Dolphin material, instead of catering to our strengths. Danny, drop back, throw the rock. He forced a run down our throats. It's like, every team's got to be able to run, but you can't take away, quote unquote, Superman Dan Marino's superpowers, and that's be able to read the room, read the defense, throw the rock around the yard, and make it some plays. And so he just wasn't buying in on that. He didn't want Danny to be the man, and hell, the rest is history with him as well, man. He just didn't like us. First of all, because we were Shula guys, and then of course, because Danny and I got along, and he didn't seem to get along with us. So
what's funny is Bill Belichick, as much as Dolphin fans hate him, I think he loved to get Don Shula players because he knew he could coach them how he wanted to coach them, because they were used to that style of coaching.
Yeah, I think no matter what, he knew that they were coming to him already pro ready to go, and and that that he knew how Shula treated us, man, and Shula treated us very well, but he was super demanding. And that's part of what you're supposed to want. You're supposed to want that. You're supposed to go into a locker room, and things aren't supposed to be easy. You're supposed to earn and deserve everything you get out of the situation. So yeah, no doubt about it, man. We saw a lot of Dolphins go from Miami to New England. I mean, kudos for them for snatching those guys up, because there was a lot of good guys they got.
I remember you had an offensive lineman not recently, McIntyre, I think his name was. He told us, huh?
Oh, that's McIntyre. McIntyre, what did he say?
He was saying about how when he was being recruited by Nick Saban, he turned him down, and Nick Saban told him to hit the bricks. And then when he came to Miami, he's like, he spotted him out of the corner. He was like, "Hey, I know you." Was it that like kind of deal with you and Jimmy Johnson?
You know what? Jimmy never recruited me that well in college, so no, it wasn't like that at all. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, we had him on the fish tank talking about that, and then sure as hell, Nick takes over the Dolphin job. Damian was like, "Oh man, this dude's I'm gonna get cut because this dude did not like me because I didn't go there in college. He didn't go to Michigan State, I believe it was, or LSU wanted to." And he was like, "Yeah." For Jimmy inherited us, and I was actually for the cheap back then because I was trying to get a new deal, and I earned a new deal with Jimmy. So it wasn't as though my contract was super big for him to get rid of me. So he was all right. I mean, he was all right at the beginning until he wasn't, So that's all, man. I honestly, and I think I've never said anything else. I'm not a Jimmy Johnson fan, and I never will be. So
yeah,
it'll be what it is, man.
Yeah, you let it be known. You know what I'm saying? At least you're not trying to hide it and say, "Yeah,
Nah.
I like Jimmy," and then like in behind his back, like fuck him. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. That's just not my personality.
And I appreciate that about you, man. And let me speaking of which, there's a couple of stories on the fish tank that stick out to me, especially when Don Shula was pissed off at the Dolphins. I remember one of the things he said, "Hey man, I could go down to the high school down the street." And you remember what school that was? He said he was referring to.
I'm not. I wasn't on the team when he said that, but I know he's said it before. I'm not even sure, but we've had a couple of guys talk about that. Oh, Carroll City. Is that your squad?
Yeah, that's my high school. That's where I graduated from.
Okay.
1997.
Bro, did you make any plays, man?
No, I ain't played. I played water boy. I played on the bench. But I graduated the same year with Santana Moss.
Okay.
So
hell, it wasn't too bad. You guys had a little bit of talent on that squad, but maybe not back when Shula was talking about that. But yeah, a little talent.
Yeah, there's a lot of players. I think one of the greatest coaches of all time was Walt Frazier. He's known for that reminds me, you were Hawkins. That's your high school you went to?
No S, bro.
It says Hawkins on. I guess we.
Right, it's Hawkins. No S, man. I'm telling you right now, no S, bro. No.
Well, they said you had you had the record for all-purpose yards for 7,302 yards, and I want to hear about this interception for 108 yards.
Oh man, yeah, I did. Yeah, I went there for my last for 3 years. I went to Hawkins. We had a monster team. Wasn't just me. Our team was pretty damn good, and to be able to accumulate that many yards in 3 seasons, man, it was fun. We had a really good time. The 108-yard interception return, I think it's still in the Ohio high school record book, but it happened like towards the end of the game, Shake. We were beating a team, I think probably by 17 points at that point when they threw a Hail Mary anyways. And I played safety, so I played both ways in high school. They threw a Hail Mary. I caught it deep in the end zone. I was going to take a knee, but I just saw all this green pasture in front of me, bro. So I was really just trying to bring it out and trying to run the clock out. It's probably, 20, 25 seconds left. I was really just trying to run the clock out, and things just started opening up for me, started opening up, and I got a couple of nice blocks. My boy Mel Jones threw like what I call a domino block. He had one dude and took 3 dudes out after it, So I just really was just trying to run the clock out. And at that point, what I do, once I get past the 50 and I'm by myself, do I take a knee? Do I slide? What do I do? I just went ahead and took it to the house, man. And I'm glad it's still among some of the great records that are in Ohio, because we had a lot of great football in Ohio, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, man. I was there last year. We went to Kings Island. If you ever been there?
Oh yeah, Cincinnati for sure.
Yeah, I've been there.
Sure,
it's
man.
A nice
We got the best parks, man. If you go up to Sandusky, Ohio, right outside of Cleveland, you got Cedar Point. We got some of the best parks out there, bro. Yeah, they sleep on us when it comes to amusement parks. We got the best roller coasters, that's for sure.
As a matter of fact, I went there for you guys had like a haunted house in Kings Park. It was Ohio, a haunted house.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. I'm sorry if we're all being all over the place, but that's what the blender is.
No worries.
You grew up, like I said, you were drafted in 1993. 2 years later, like I said, I was in high school in 1993, so I was a teenager. One of my all-time favorite groups, guys who were in the 40s back when I was growing up, they were big Kiss fans. Well, that's how I am with Bone Thugs and Harmony from Cleveland, Ohio. Did you how did you feel? Did you rock them, or what'd you think of Bone Thugs coming from your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I love any great acts that come from our area, man. When I was growing up, though, I was more like R&B guys, like Levert, the OJs. They're more from my hood, and and they were absolutely incredible. Bone Thugs and Harmony, I didn't rock with them until they had to collab with Biggie. You know what I mean? And so, hell, that's got to be their number one song that they've ever created, man. But I'm proud of all the Ohio artists, man. They go unnoticed a lot of times, and I think that Bones is one of the first rap groups that came out, rap R&B, whatever they might call themselves, that put us kind of on the map when it comes to certain different arts. And Yeah, I'm real cool with them. I don't know them personally, but hell,
Yeah.
when they come on though, I turn them up on turn them up on the radio. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's why that's like I said, I grew up a big fan. Back when I was growing up, it was Bone Thugs, then Tupac, then a little bit more Bone Thugs.
Really?
know,
So
yeah.
you gave Bone Thugs a little more love than Tupac, huh?
Well, I mean, it was like, they had their period, then they'll die down, then Tupac will come out, then you listen to them, and then they'll. But actually, my favorite rapper of all time is JT Money. That's how I came up with the name Shake Money, as a
Got
homage
it.
to my JT Money. He's a rapper from Miami.
Absolutely.
If you're
Heard
from
of
the
him for
crib, you
sure.
know who he is.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. I like all hip hop. Well, I used to like all hip hop. Now I can't understand half of it because I'm old as hell, bro. But
Yeah, I feel you.
I like, Shake, how it's supposed to be, man. When you're doing hip hop, you're supposed to be telling a story, man. And
Yeah.
back in the day, they tell a story, bro. And then it's amazing some of the stories that these artists are telling, and it's fun to follow along, man. Nowadays, they say words just to make them rhyme, and some of the stuff you can't understand. My kids love it, man, but I still go back to if I ever go
like
on
Biggie. When Biggie was Ready to Die came out, he had a lot of songs where you could picture what he's talking about play out in your head.
Absolutely, man. The whole thing. I saw Slick Rick the other day. You know what I mean? And him telling the children's story, like, boom, you see him going down the street, you see all the things that he's talking about, you can visualize all the stuff that he's doing, man. And that's artists, they're supposed to be poets, and they're supposed to like tell a story, man, and they do it in rhyme. And next thing you know, you got a conclusion, you got a beginning, and you got an end. Nowadays, it's the same old stuff on repeat, man. So I try to vibe with it, man, but sometimes it just doesn't work for me.
Well, it's like modern country. Back like you talking about outlaw country when we had you guys like Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. Those dudes were, like you said, were painting a picture with their words.
Correct. It's hard to do, man, but they, it's artistic, man. It's creative, and it's amazing what some of these guys can do for sure.
So let me ask you about. We'll go back to in the fish, and this is a great question for people who like me, like the other podcasts that you've been on. What have you learned by doing interview? What did you think is your biggest growth from when you first started till now, as far as asking questions and homework and things of that nature?
Yeah, I think what I learned a lot was, letting guys talk and let them tell their story and let them know that, this is their podcast. So that's one of the first things before we even go on the air. I tell the guys, whatever you want to say, whatever it is, it's, this is your podcast. We're not live. If you come back to us and there's something that you want us to take out, or something you missaid or misstated, let us know. We'll correct it. We want you to come across as the best person that you want to be. Curse if you want to, talk about somebody if you want to. We'll come back and we'll review it with you and see if you want to eliminate some things. But I think the biggest thing that we learned through doing podcasts is let the guys have their own episode. This is their episode. It's not the Fish Tank. It is the Shake Money episode. So Shake, this is your episode. Let's have at it, and we'll have it. It'll come across or come out any way you want it to be. You know what I mean? And so I think that was one of the things. And being also coming from the player side of things, I make sure when we have our questions and stuff, I make sure I'm super sensitive to whatever might offend somebody or might be a little over the top. And Seth is great about putting our rundown together. I just want to make sure that when I go over our rundown, that it's something that if I was on the other side, if I was a player, I wouldn't be pissed off with that question. So I don't want anybody pissed off at us either. So that's kind of what I've learned through doing this.
That's understandable because I would like to get you for a third time. You know what I'm saying? So I'll try my best not to
you can't offend me now, Shay. We boys now, bro. You got me now. I'll come on next time, guns blazing if I have to.
So no, the thing I like. All right, now check this out. I'm gonna like you said, one of my favorite episodes, and again, I love all my guests, but I have an episode where if I want to listen to one of my episodes, KP, his name is KP. This dude, he went to Southridge, he played football. He's also on the Finn's Tailgate with me. And one of the reasons why that was one of my favorite episodes, because we talked about the history of Miami, how it became a city. We talked about the Bahamian culture. We talked about coaches, high school coaches. We also talked about Trash Pile Stadium, which in my opinion is the mecca of high school footballs, at least in the state of Florida. It's one of those fields that hosted many talents.
Yes.
You talk about Ocho Cinco. You
Epic
talk
game.
about Marvin Lewis. You talk about Santana Moss. I could give you a list. Frank Gore. You talking about James Cook. Dalvin Cook. Those guys have played in Trash Pile Stadium. So we talked about the state of Miami. So my question to you is there any one episode that sticks out to you similarly?
Yeah. Oh man. So it's so crazy because there's so many of them. And actually, when I listen back, it's kind of some of the ones that I really, really enjoy. It goes back. There's some. I mean, our Jalen Phillips episode right at the beginning was incredible. I loved our Deion Jordan episode.
Yeah, I just seen it not too long ago.
Yeah,
he talked about how he turned a negative into a positive.
Exactly right, man. Because he had, being a third overall pick, and really just pissed it all away, bro. I know he was hurt. Then he suspended and all these different things, man. But the humility that he had, and being able to, overcome that now in life and being able to go out there and make a positive out of what was a negative here and take ownership of it, Shake. He owned it. He owned the fact that, he messed it all up. That was a great one. Another one I love was Larry Shannon. Larry Shannon's episode was so good. And people don't understand. He was in the same draft as Randy Moss, and we took Larry instead of Randy. But Larry Shannon was an incredible athlete, incredible out of, East Carolina. And just never got healthy enough, bro. But the talent that I saw on the practice field, the talent I saw and the guy I saw in the locker room was just incredible. So many guys, you'll appreciate this one. Till Green, we haven't had him on the thing yet, on the show yet, but he would have been so freaking good as a Miami Dolphin if he could have been healthy. If we could have let Till get healthy, he'd have been so incredible, because I've never seen a kid that fast, that strong, that catch the ball that well, runs routes like that, willing to knock a DB down. You know what I mean? He would have been so good if we would have given him an opportunity to get healthy, man. So, there's so many episodes that we talk about, but they might not have been the best players because of statistics, but man, were they great stories because of what happened to them, how they got there, and then how things might not have worked out for them in the NFL.
It's all right. Before we get some on the spot questions, like I always do, the one I forgot who it was, but I remember in the fish tank hearing about somebody tried to haze Till Green, and it didn't turn out right for them.
Yeah, well, we all tried to haze him, man. We all tried to haze him. Yeah, it was on our show where I think Charles Jordan was the one that we talked about. He was on our show. Charles Jordan was incredible. Another incredible story, how he got to the league and everything about it. But yeah, man, Till made the rookie mistake of ordering all his Nike gear to the locker room, and the big old box came in the middle of the room. Till was somewhere else, and we went through his box. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting some shoes, T-shirts, sweatpants, shorts. I had a T-shirt, everything about it. And Till came back. I told you, Till was no one to joke with. Till came back, and he said he told all of us, veterans and all, I don't care if you played the year for 1 year or 10 years, I want all my stuff back in my box when I get back, right? And I knew he meant it, right? So I took my T-shirt, I threw it back in there. Everybody else threw their stuff back in there. We had one guy, Charles Jordan, said, "Nah, man, rookie, the hell with that rookie, man. We blah, blah, blah." So Till had to let him know that he wasn't playing. So they went out back, had a little scuffle. Till came back, no shirt on, sweating, swole as hell. And Chucky took a little one that day. And Chucky ain't no joke. Chucky can go, man. So I don't know what they did back there behind closed doors, but Till was the one that came back looking fresher than Chucky did. That's for sure.
Goddamn. So, all right, here we go. Here's some on the spot questions. Dave Hyde said on his show on Alan Poupard's podcast that Miami had a chance to move to the AFC South. They asked you, OJ, do you want to go to the AFC South or stay in the AFC East? What would you have told him?
AFC South for sure. I mean, look what we deal with in the AFC East. You know, we have to go up to New England. We have to go up to Buffalo. We have to go up to New York. And those have always been our problems when it comes to, getting out of our division. The AFC South is what we're a Southern team. You know, we're used to playing in the South. Why shouldn't we play most of our games in the South and then move somebody else up into the Northeast and be in that conference? You know, I love the rivalry that we have, but it would be advantageous for us to be in the AFC South. So I don't know why we didn't, take that opportunity.
You don't have to do that much traveling either.
I'm not worried about, the travel's one thing, man, but I think we should be able to play in that type of weather. It's like SEC teams, they all play in the South. Big Ten teams all play in the North, all these different things that happen. And then when you collide in inclement weather, then, you see what happens. So I think that they should all play regionally and then meet up somewhere else later when it, happens. And that it'll give us an advantage. And I think all the AFC South teams would have had an advantage playing down here, or at least, playing it in better weather than what we had to deal with going up to North all the time. And then they let these guys off the hook by having them come down here in December and late November. That's no advantage to us. But we got to go up there in terrible weather, and it's a mess. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would have loved to have played in the AFC South if we'd have made that move.
All right, one of my on the spot questions is, who do you get your information from? But I'm gonna ask you I'm gonna put it to you in a differently. Like, for instance, I asked if a normal guest, I would say, who is your you can only get Miami Dolphins information from one beat writer. Who would it be? You're gonna be yours is gonna be a little different. Which beat writer, if this was like an Uber, would you give? Did you like the most, and which beat writer would you give a 5-star review to if you had to? If you were writing down reviews,
they say now they're all my friends now. They weren't my friends when I played.
I'm not saying which one you can give us 2-star review to.
They're all about. I like them all. I'm gonna tell you, I can answer the question about who I would go to for information. It's not a beat writer. My guy is always Travis Wingfield, and not insider stuff, but just his knowledge of the team. Travis Wingfield is so good in following the Dolphins and what he does. That's always my guy. Whenever we trade somebody or we pick somebody up or in the draft, I'll ask Travis, like, what do you think about this guy? And Travis has all this information about him. So anytime I have anything I need to know, it's always going to go through Travis. And, of course, Chris Perkins is one of my guys. Dave Hyde's one of my guys, that I really love listening and reading what they do.
And they covered you, right?
Yeah, those guys, yeah. Well, I think Perk didn't. Dave Hyde did, but I think Perk might have missed me. But, those are the guys that I really, really, look to.
Alan Poupard was Alan Poupard covered?
Alan was around. I'm not sure what his role was then. I'm not really sure, but but those are the guys. I never really liked reporters, Shake. What I mean? So now,
well, I know you had Armando Salguero, and you also had Jeff Darlington, which trips me out because I'm Cuban, right?
See, Jeff, I didn't have Jeff. Jeff was young. Jeff's young, so Jeff wasn't. But it was definitely Armando. Yeah. He was definitely one of the guys.
The one thing that tripped me out, though, is when Armando was on and he was covering the football team, he had these assholes telling him he should cover soccer. He's like, "What? I'm Cuban. We don't play soccer in Cuba." What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, Armando's really sharp, man. Also, Jason Cole was another guy that I like, man. So we had a bunch of guys, bro. So yeah.
All right, let me ask you this: in the locker room, right? Because nowadays. We had Brian Flowers is too hard, Brian or McDaniels is too soft. Everybody's a critic. Who do you think sets the tone in the locker room? Is it the players or the coaches?
Starts off the coach, man. Starts off the coach. Coach starts it off right away. And the tone is set when you demand in that locker room respect for everybody. When you demand that locker room, everybody clean up for themselves. When you demand that locker room, a mutual respect for everybody's space, it starts up top. right? When you start letting guys get away with whatever in the locker room, sloppiness, clothes all over the place, you don't have to clean up the bathroom, but you can't just be, pigs, around, in that locker room. So it starts up top with them setting that tone about how things are going to be handled right there. We got some great guys and equipment guys, and Joey Chimino and John Swede and Charlie Thiel that go around and make our lives so much easier nowadays. And these guys just leave stuff laying around. I'm not sure if they do or not. They have bins to put their stuff in, but sometimes that locker room's a hot mess, man. So it starts with that organizational part of it and demanding that guys handle their business in terms of that locker room. And then you work your way into meetings. When you leave meetings, are you leaving a coffee cup? Are you leaving a spit cup or whatever it might be? That's all part of organizational, getting these guys organized and things like that and doing things the right way. When you start doing things the right way in the locker room, then you tend to do things the right way in the weight room and on the football field. So I think it starts with the coach. And then you've got some guys that really
self-police, right?
Yeah, exactly right. You got to have the right leaders in that locker room that make sure that dudes do things the right way. It's hard to be telling a grown man, man, pick that up. I didn't do that. Even though I was a captain on the team, I wasn't doing that. They're supposed to do it on their own, bro, And so you hope you have some really good leaders in that locker room that, keep guys on the right path, get guys in meetings early, leaving meetings late, staying later to watch film. That's when the players come in, but it really starts with the head man up top.
All right, I'm glad you brought up the film part because I got 2-part questions. All right, number one, because one of the things that the theme is, wide receivers drop. Whose fault was it? If you're watching film as a coach, right, and you're watching a play develop, and let's say a player drops it, how can you tell from the naked eye if it was on the receiver or on the quarterback?
Yeah, drops are easy to tell. You can tell by the drop, but the pass is what you worry about more than anything. Like the route. Most of the time, I'm looking at the route, but drop passes, they're going to happen because I always say he who's never dropped a pass never had a pass thrown to him. But you can tell, like a lot of times those crossing routes. I'm gonna tell you this, Shake. The toughest ones for me were the crossing routes when I'm like shallow to the defensive line, offensive line. I'm going across. And I'm like, maybe 8 yards from the quarterback. And then that fastball comes out of nowhere. Those are the hardest ones to catch because you don't see them until the last minute. So when it comes to drops, it's usually on the receiver. If the quarterback puts it on your hands, it's on the receiver. But sometimes, when it comes to the ball being high or low or whatever, it could be on either one of them. Either the quarterback, didn't hold it long enough, or the wide receiver went short on his route, went long on his route, different things like that. On TV, it looks like most of the time it's a wide receiver's fault. But I tell you, I've had some incidents where it was the quarterback's fault. And one of them was Dan Marino. We had a couple incidents. Well, I wouldn't say a couple. One time for sure where I know it was Danny's fault, but I'm the one that got in trouble on TV. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the second part to that question is, all right, how do you know if, again, by watching film, when it's a good play call or just players not executing? What would you be a better indicator?
That's a great
Or
question.
is that something that has to be internal?
Yeah, you know what? No, every play is a bad call if it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Every play is a bad call if it doesn't work. And then even the plays, you say, why are we doing that? And then it's like, you Shake, it's like you shooting a 3-pointer. Like, no, Shake. And you knock it down. They're like, oh, good shot, Shake. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like it's the same thing. So everything's a bad play call when it doesn't work. And then, when it does work, everybody's kudos and saying that's a great call. Execution is everything, bro. Every execution, you call the play, no matter what it is, you got to go out there and execute it. Do your job. If every man does their job in the play, then we got it. Then it's going to work out. Sometimes, defense wins, obviously. So you might call a play and you can't get out of it. Next thing you know, we're running strong and they got a strong side blitz against us. It's probably not going to work. Or, we've got a play where Tyreek's got a double move maybe, and they come with a blitz. You can't do a double move against a blitz because you'll never be able to protect it long enough. So that'll shut a play down. So sometimes the defense wins when you've got the best play call, and it looks like, why'd they call that? Well, the defense won that one. We got to give your kudos to them because all those guys on that side of football get paid too.
Well, here's the thing. It drives me crazy when they say, oh, man, there was a wide open guy. But yeah, it's easy to identify a wide open guy when you're sitting on the couch or in the stand. But it's hard for a guy when you have a 200-pound lineman running a 4.4 coming after your head.
Yeah, I would love for people to get some POV goggles on, for like a quarterback when the clock is ticking and they're saying he's a wide open guy, and then let them see what he sees. Let them see what Tua sees, what all these quarterbacks see. See what they see in that 3 seconds they have to throw the football, and then you can talk about a wide open guy. Most wide open guys are wide open after the quarterback's already let the ball go, or he's looking this way, or and the DB's cheating. So there's never very, very many wide open guys in the NFL. That's for sure.
That's what's up, man. And man, listen, I appreciate you for coming here, but like you always do on your show, we have a 2-minute warning.
Let's go.
All right. So I'm gonna do a quick 2-minute warning with you.
Okay.
And then we'll set you on your way. And once again, I appreciate you for coming on here, man. All right, now. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 players wore the number 81 for the Miami Dolphins. Can you identify 3?
Oh, 3. 3's easy, man.
Or 5. Or 5. We'll do 5.
No, you already said 3.
No, 5. We'll do 5.
You can't go back on and say OJ McDuffie.
No, you can't be you. Come on now.
You can't keep chasing. You can't keep moving the goalposts on me, Shane. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I've seen you do it before.
All right,
on your show.
Tilly, I think he started off wearing it.
What's his name? Jimmy Seflo. Yeah, great. I hope you have him on the pod. Have you ever had him on?
Yeah, we just had Jimmy. Okay. Great stuff. Tilly.
Okay.
Randy McMichael.
All right.
Durham Smythe.
Okay.
Randall Hill wore it at one point.
Yep.
Who else? That's my 5 right there. Other than myself, that's 6 for me. So,
right. Who other than yourself, who do you think did the number 81 jersey? Who was your favorite number 181 out of those 5?
Randy McMichael. Yeah, man. Big Randy, man. That's my dude right there too, man. He wore that thing. It's so funny, man, because they gave me a heads up that this guy was getting my jersey after it sat idle for a couple of years, and boy, did he represent it well. Randy McMichael's my guy for sure.
All right.
What else you got, Shake? Bring it. That's it.
That's pretty much it.
All right, give me the other guys though. No, I missed some guys.
Okay, we had forgive me if I butcher the names. Mike Carterbone from 87 to 87.
Okay.
Robert Clark from 92 to 92. Derek Epps, Joey Hanos, Randall Hill, Frank Lockett, James Pruitt, Dante Rosario, Scott Sweeney, and you said Howard Tilley. So
yeah, okay. Damn, I should have known that. Now I'm glad you told me that. I'll never get stumped for that question again, bro. Thanks for preparing me for that one. All right.
Well, let me ask you this last question for this kind of 2-minute warning. If the rules were set up how the number of rules were set up when you were a rookie, would you have taken your college jersey instead of number 81?
You know what? I don't know if 24 looks good as a wide receiver, bro. You know what I mean? I wanted 84 because at least I had the 4, but I don't know if 24 looks a little whack as a wide receiver. So, nah, probably not. I probably would have gone with a team number or, going with, 81. 80s are the teens. So, yeah, 24 would look whack out there, in my opinion, nowadays. Now I think about it.
So, all right, man. Before we set you on your way, man, what do you got cooking in the fish tank?
Yeah, man. So we've got the next week. We just had a great one with Craig Heil, man. If you check out the Craig Heil episode, it's another episode like I talk about. Not a guy that played the game, but was all about the operations of some of the things that go on all Miami Dolphins, and going all the way back to Eastern Airlines and working with the organization for 30 years. Great Shula stories, great Joe Robbie stories, of course, man. Just along the way, man, just telling us how things were back then. And it was a great episode. And then next week, we're dropping Joey Harrington. Joey Harrington was going to be a fun episode in terms of, like, man, what he went through in everything he went through as a Miami Dolphin quarterback and leading up to it and afterwards, man, it's phenomenal stuff, man. So definitely dive into the fish tank for that.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, man, once again, I appreciate you. Hopefully, like I said, we can get you on for a third time. And much love to you, brother. And fins up, man.
Fins up, Shake. You got it, bro.
All right, man. Peace out.
Talk soon.
See you. And that was OJ McDuffie, man. Hey, listen. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Kenna Rankin, Cat for Life, True Blazer, Iceman, appreciate y'all. Scott Jackson, as always, appreciate you, man. Dolphin Don, Cosa Nostra. Yeah, man. So this Tuesday, 8:30, we're gonna have Mike on the mic. It's gonna be a good episode. Let me see. Here are the guests. We got DJ Vince still coming in. We got the Blitz pickup coming through. And yeah, this Tuesday, this is happy hour. Shout out to happy hour. And of course, Mike on the mic will definitely be coming through, man. So hey, I appreciate y'all for stopping by and showing me love as always. It's because of the fans like you guys that made it possible for me to interview OJ McDuffie. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank every one of you. I saved the best for last. My idol, this is my idol, Raphael Courtright. I remember him when I was a little kid. I wanted to be just like Raphael Courtright. And appreciate y'all, man. And fins up. And yeah, we out this bitch. Peace.
I know you heard me on the radio flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.